Scientology. Scientology is a religion. There is an idea of God, there is a creed, a code of ethics, there is a person who you're supposed to go to if you need help spiritually to be guided to a better direction. Scientology is a religion. It is a religion surrounding a lot of controversy because the founder of the religion, Mr. Hubbard, was a very famous science fiction author before he even started talking about a scripture or religion or spreading something like truth about how your soul can be enlightened. Hubbard was in the Navy, and he was also a famous author, and he was around Hollywood, and so lots of people criticize the ideas, but let's put aside all of that and just learn about Scientology. The symbol of Scientology has a cross in it. It might remind you of Christianity, but Scientology has nothing to do with Christianity. The Church of Science, which is a part of Christianity, maybe not, has nothing to do with Scientology. The Church of Scientology is a completely separate entity. It is a religion that was founded by Hubbard, and his books are scripture. One of his most famous books, the center of Scientology, you might say, is the Dianetics, the subtitle of which is The Modern Science of Mental Health. This is a book published in 1950 by Hubbard, and this is your official scripture, the basics of Scientology. In the Dianetics, you get some do's and do nots, just like you would from the Bible or the Quran. And some do's are something like, do respect yourself and be true and authentic. Don't say things that you don't think are true or don't want to say. There are things you're forbidden from doing, like destroying life. And then you have some suggestions about how we should treat human beings. The way we should treat human beings is as if their fundamental rights are inalienable, that somebody should always be treated as an autonomous agent. And so if you want to read the 15 facts that you believe in, then check out the Creed written by Hubbard. There is also a code of honor written by Hubbard, and this code of honor lists a bunch of things for you to live by as a lifestyle. You don't have to follow it strictly or exactly or too closely. It's just a guideline on how you ought to live, and it is totally okay if you fall away from it sometimes, as long as that's your goal, is to live by the code of honor. The code of honor is not enforceable, Hubbard writes. You cannot force someone to believe these things or to follow these things. Following these things are a luxury and something that each person decides for themselves. Here's an idea in Scientology that might remind you of Hinduism or Buddhism. The idea is that there is a thing called a soul or a true self that's inside of you. Okay, so that sounds like maybe Islam and Christianity and Judaism as well. It is immortal, and it keeps going to new bodies. So the Thetan is this soul that is in you right now, and it was in some other body before, and it'll be in some other body next. So maybe this is starting to remind you of reincarnation. This soul is your true self, and because of your negative experiences, it's kind of clouded. And so there's a process in Scientology that will help you become more in touch with your Thetan, your true self, so that you can understand who you are and get out of your own way. The Thetan, the soul that is in every person, was created by God, or the cause. Scientology does have a God. It's the cause of all things. But it's not the same God as you would find in the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But there is a God, and it is an infinite thing. This Thetan was created by God and is immortal. It never dies, and it carries with it all of the negative traumatic experiences of whoever was holding it in the past. So when you're born, you have this Thetan inside of you that is carrying negative experiences, and as you live, you're carrying even more of that trauma. Don't worry, because Scientology has this process called auditing. Auditing is this process where the trained auditor sits down with the person being audited and they have a conversation. The person being audited has a e-meter. This is a physical machine that tracks basically your stress levels. It tracks your electromagnetic currents going through your body as you're having this conversation. And as you're talking about things, this meter will go super high when you are triggered or feeling stress, and then the auditor knows that that's more into which they should look. So they look more into you and more into the concepts that cause you stress. They dig into your memories and your experiences. They keep asking you questions. And through this process, through several auditing sessions, maybe lasting years, you're supposed to be able to identify all of the negative emotions that are blocking you from thriving, and you heal by going through these, identifying them and healing from them. The engrams are these traumatic experiences, the strong emotional content, the strong negative emotional content stored in your memory, these traumas that the Thetans are carrying that are resulting in you not being mentally well. The whole purpose of Hubbard creating this religion, Scientology, as it's spelled out in Dianetics, is for each soul to be able to heal from all of the engrams so that they can be clear. The symbol of Scientology has these 8 points, and it represents the process where a individual first wants to survive as an individual, but then through auditing and through enlightenment, they want their family to survive. That's another one of the points. And then they thrive even more, and then they want the whole nation to survive, and then they want all of the human species to survive, then they want infinity to survive. So these 8 points represents one out of the 8 dynamics that serve as the drive of survival of these Thetans.